Good evening. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel. I'd like to tell you all my part series, the week that was college football history review, the 1979 college football season. Tonight I'll be talking about the 1979 major bowl games. And here we go. Holiday Bowl, December 21st, 1979, Indiana beat Brigham Young 38-37, led by quarterback Mark Wilson's 380-yard passing. The Cougars came just short of undefeated season as kicker Brent Johnson missed a 27-yard field goal with 11 seconds left to preserve Indiana's first ever bowl win. Game-winning points for Hoosiers came courtesy of cornerback Tim Wilbur, who returned punt 62 yards for touchdown midway through the fourth quarter. BYU's next possession ended on interception by Hoosiers linebacker Marlon Evans, one of three pickoffs for Indiana, which sent it on field goal drive that was muffed on fumble snap. Cougars then drove 69 yards in the game's final moments before missing field goal. As befitting Holiday Bowl, teams exchanged lead 8 times. BYU tight end punter Clay Brown caught 9 passes for 142 yards, but he also had misfortune of punting ball to Wilbur. Indiana quarterback Tim Clifford wedged over for a pair of 1-yard touchdowns. Next, the Liberty Bowl, December 22nd. Penn State beat Tulane 96. With many of the best Penn State players injured or suspended, final hero became unknown four-string tailback named Joel Coles. With the game tied 6-6 with less than a minute remaining, Penn State faced a 3rd and 2 at midfield. Coach Joe returner went for an unusually wild call. Coles took pitch and appeared to be running for first down when he abruptly pulled up through a 39-yard pass to wide open wide receiver Tom Donovan. Soon after, kicker Herb Menhardt, who earlier made field goals of 33 yards and 27 yards, booted winning 20-yard field goal with 18 seconds left. Quarterback Rock Hunters had rallied Green Wave to the tie game at kicker Ed Murray's second 26-yard field goal. Now, in the first half, Tulane managed only 63 yards against Nittany Lions' defense and were unable to convert any of Penn State's 3 early touchdowns. Fullback Max Suey committed 2 field goals in first quarter, but led attack that gained 242 yards on the ground. In the Sun Bowl, December 22nd, 1979, Washington beat Texas 14-7, converting 3 turnovers into scores. Teams combined for 21 second quarter points, but then settled into defensive struggle. Washington managed only 165 yards of offense, only needed drives of 42 yards and 23 yards to score its touchdowns following Texas scores. Longhorns saw long first quarter drive and goal line tackle by Husky safety Greg Grimes converted fumble recovery into 44 yards. Drive to deficit. 44 yards to have deficit. Washington's first scoring drive began when nose guard Stafford Mays recovered fumble late in the first quarter. Huskies moved 24 yards before facing 3rd and 11 at Texas' 18-yard line. Quarterback Tom Flick threw past the wide receiver Tom Scansey in end zone for touchdown dive and catch. Using backups due to injuries, Horns then fumbled away next possession when freshman fullback Darryl Clark lost the ball on own 23-yard line. Grimes recovered fumble and 4 plays later. Huskies had 14-0 lead on a 4-yard touchdown run by freshman tailback Willis Mackey. Texas reversed the trend. Texas reversed trend after defensive end Tim Campbell nailed Flick with ball bounce to defensive tackle Kenneth Simmons to set up a 11-play drive to 5-yard scoring pass from quarterback Donnie Little to halfback Brad Beck. Each team posted a second half shutout as every play was hotly contested. Tangerine Bowl, December 22nd, 1979. Louisiana State beat Wake Forest 34-10. The Tigers made sure Charlie Mack, lovable coach Charlie McClendon, went out as a winner. As McClendon ended his final game riding on shoulders of players, LSU quarterback David Woodley rushed for 68 yards and 2 scores. He threw a 19-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Jerry Murphy. Tigers defense sacked quarterback Jay Venuto 3 times while picking him off twice. Eventually, Venuto was knocked out of the game by Bengals defensive end Lyman White, who authored 3rd quarter sack. Defeat could not dampen the amazing year that was turned in by annual doormat Wake Forest. Deacons won more games in 1979, Coach John Malkovich's second season than they had in previous 3 seasons combined, with 7. Fiesta Bowl, December 25th, 1979, Pittsburgh beat Arizona 16-10. Although points came at a premium, Panthers scored just enough to win. Scoreback Dan Marino threw a touchdown pass to Coker, and kicker Mark Schubert booted 3 field goals. Drive to Marino's 12-yard scoring pass to tight end Benji Pryor was bright spot for Pittsburgh offense as Marino completed passes of 34 yards to tight end Mike Dombrowski and 24 yards to wide receiver Ralph Steele to turn around a difficult 2nd and 36 situation. The drive also featured 4th down conversion of 1 yard run by tailback Fred Jacobs. Wildcats scored a touchdown in 4th quarter on a 1 yard run by fullback Hubert Oliver that he set up with surprise 46-yard pass to wide receiver Greg Jackson. Quarterback Jim Crone completed 17 of 34, 180 yards, 3 interceptions for Cats, who came up empty on first half drives that reached the 37-yard line of Pittsburgh, 26 and 22-yard lines. Gator Bowl, December 28th. North Carolina beat Michigan 17-15. Last chance to win bowl game in the 1970s ended for Michigan coach Bo Schembechler with disastrous 4th quarter that pivoted on 4 turnovers. And after Wolverines' touchdown dropped 2-point conversion pass, the finest moment for Tar Heels arrived earlier as quarterback Matt Coupet led 97-yard drive, completing 6 of 7, 49 yards. 6 of 7, 49 yards, including a 12-yard touchdown pass to tailback Phil Farris in 3rd quarter for 14-9 lead. Michigan had been ahead 9-0 in the 2nd quarter when red-hot starting quarterback John Wangler was injured on sack. Wangler was never the same gifted quarterback after injury, but heroically led Wolverines to Rose Bowl win in January of 1981 after kicker Jeff Hayes kicked a 32-yard field goal in 4th quarter to up Carolina's lead to 17-9. Wolverines drove 74 yards to quarterback B.J. Dickey. 30-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Anthony Carter with 1:28 to go. Dickey and Carter were unable to connect on tying 2-point conversion pass, and then Michigan legally touched outside kickoff before it traveled 10 yards. North Carolina tailback Amos Lawrence ran for 118 yards. Next in the Hall of Fame Bowl, December 29th, Missouri beat South Carolina 24-14. The Gamecocks went distance with first possession, scoring on 20-yard quarterback Gary Harper. Pass to wide receiver Zion, Mr. Clutch McKinney. Missouri took control of the game with 17-point 2nd quarter surge. Kicker Ron Verrilli first put Tigers on board with 22-yard field goal, which was followed moments later by a lost fumble on Gamecocks kickoff return. Quarterback Phil Bradley gave the Missouri lead. It would not relinquish on next play, throwing a 28-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver David Newman. Bradley scored himself on a 1-yard run later in the 2nd quarter for a 17-6 lead. Now Harper answered in 3rd quarter with 11-yard touchdown run. 2-point conversion to McKinney to pull within 17-14. Now led by linebacker Eric Berg, defense of Missouri shut out Gamecocks from then on, while offense added halfback Jerry Ladd. This is 11-yard touchdown run. Now South Carolina tailback George Rogers ran for 133 yards on 25 carries. Clemson lost to Baylor 24-18 in the Peach Bowl. The decaying game to defensive back Kyle Woods, who had broken his neck in his preseason. Baylor pulled a glorious upset. After a emotional pregame speech by Woods, Bears forged the 24-10 lead on 3 aerial touchdowns and 2 punts. Meanwhile, Clemson had open scoring with 1-yard touchdown run by tailback Lester Brown, but the Bears quarterback Mike Brannon threw 2 touchdown passes and picked back up quarterback Mickey Elam added 3rd after Brannon left with injury. In 4th quarter, revitalized Tigers twice marched to within Baylor 24-yard line but came up empty. Then Clemson linebacker Andy Hedden blocked punt that was recovered on Baylor 1-yard line with 22 seconds left. Tailback Chuck McSwain scored. Quarterback Billy Slott threw 2-point conversion pass to fullback Jeff McCall. Alert Hedden recovered onside kickoff. Lott tossed a 30-yard pass to wide receiver Perry Tuttle to Baylor 23-yard line. That was as close as Tigers could get, as penalty and interception ended matters. In the Bluebonnet Bowl, December 31st, Purdue beat Tennessee. Score of 27-22. Purdue jumped out to a big early lead, but had to withstand Valentine's rally. Quarterback Mark Herman hit 3 touchdowns in sparking Boilermakers, including comeback strike of 17 yards to tight end Dave Young for game winner with 90 seconds left. Herman had thrown touchdowns of 12 yards to wide receiver Burt Burrow and 12 yards to Young as Purdue built a 21-0 lead in the third quarter. Tennessee came back as defense bent but did not break, and offense started hitting passes. Quarterback Jimmy Streeter put Volunteers on board with 8-yard touchdown pass to sub tailback Glenn Ford. Tennessee used trickery for next score on a 15-yard option touchdown pass from tailback James Berry to wingback Phil Ingram. Now, Volunteers scored next when fullback Hubert Simpson ran 1 yard for a touchdown that cut the deficit to 21-20. Now, Volunteers coach Johnny Majors went for the lead. Streeter threw 2-point conversion pass to Simpson. Boilermakers who missed 2 insurance field goals lost fumble into the Tennessee end zone second half. We got to late turn and fortune winning. Again, 80 yards. The Cotton Bowl. Houston beat Nebraska 17-14. For second straight year, Cotton Bowl went down to wire, but this time Houston came out on top as wide receiver Eric Herron caught winning touchdown pass from 6 yards from backup quarterback Terry Elston with 12 seconds left. Elston will add 87 yards rushing, entered game at the woeful first quarter by Cougars offense, which totaled only 28 yards. Nebraska had chewed up 85 yards on opening drive that ended with back Jarvis Redwine's 9-yard touchdown run. Elston got his team moving, leading 71-yard drive, 27-yard completion to wide receiver Lionel Fay. Elston got his team moving, leading 71-yard drive with 27-yard completion to wide receiver Lionel Fay and 24-yard rushing, 12-yard scoring run. Both teams concentrated on punting until midway through fourth quarter when Houston grabbed a 10-7 lead on a 41-yard field goal by kicker Ken Hatfield. Houston's Mad Dog defense, which surrendered only 227 yards to Nebraska offense that averaged more than twice that amount, held again, but offense of Houston gave away a ball. Fullback John Newhouse lost fumble to Nebraska defensive tackle Bill Barnett on Houston's 31-yard line. It took 6 plays, including a tricky 13-yard pass from Wyatt Ryan to quarterback Jeff Quinn for Huskers to regain lead at 14-10. So on a 6-yard pass from Quinn to tight end Jeff Finn, Houston then began victory drive, needing 66 yards to score. Elston completed 5 of 7, 45 yards, ran for three times for 10 yards. On winning play, Elston threw bullet pass, passed 3 defenders to Herring. Herring bobbled, tipped ball slightly, but made catch for Cougars win. In the Orange Bowl, Oklahoma beat Florida State 24-7. Speed kills was a lesson Florida State coach Bobby Bowden learned all too well against Sooners. While halfback Billy Sims had 164 yards and 24 carries, quarterback J.C. Watts ran with abandon with 127 yards and 16 carries. It was quick Sooners defense that truly doubted. Linebacker George Cumby, as fast as Florida State's backs, helped stop Seminoles' rushing attack, while safety Bud Hebert helped limit FSU passing game with 3 interceptions, so including Pitt's pickoff that set up the Sooners' second touchdown for 14-7 edge. Fullback Stanley Wilson scored that touchdown from 5 yards out, from 5-yard line, for eventual winning points. Now, Knowles managed 182 yards. He couldn't span early 7-0 lead. FSU touchdown had come on 1-yard run by fullback Mike Whiting. In first quarter had end up 74-yard drive. Cornerback Bobby Butler blocked punt by kicker punter Michael Keeling to give Seminoles ball on Oklahoma's 17-yard line. Florida State drove to 2-yard line for stumbling on penalties, bobble, hold on field goal try. Sooners made them pay, needing only 4 plays to travel 81 yards with Sims launching drive with 24-yard run. Watts ended it with a 61-yard sprint to end zone. Now, Wilson's touchdown gave OU lead that Healing stretched to 17-7 at halftime on a 24-yard field goal. Watts, Sims combined for second half score when Watts went around right in for a 12-yard run before pitching to Sims for 22 yards more and a touchdown. Sims' touchdown highlighted a wild fourth quarter that produced 3 turnovers on consecutive plays. The Sooners ramped to 411 yards total. Sugar Bowl. Alabama beat Arkansas 24-9. Alabama had just too much for Razorbacks, too much for all of college ball, in fact, and taking win that assured another perfect season and national title. And if Arkansas did not have enough to handle, Crimson Tide even used some double wing formation to confuse the Hawks defense. Halfback Major Ogilvy ran for 2 touchdowns. Halfback Billy Jackson, meanwhile, ran for 120 yards on 13 carries. The nation's top-rated defense excelled in easy win. Tide actually allowed 4 points more than their amazing season average while holding Hogs to 97 yards rushing. Shaking off effects of 5 sacks, Arkansas quarterback Kevin Scanlon threw for 245 yards, a 3-yard touchdown run to wide receiver Robert Farrell that cut deficit to 17-9 in the third quarter. Now, teams then traded punts with punter Steve Cox pinning Alabama on own 2-yard line. Early in the fourth quarter, with Alabama safety Dwight Stevenson anchoring line, Tide answered with 98-yard touchdown drive. A Jackson Key drive with opening runs of 14 yards, 35 yards that set up fullback Steve Whitman's 12-yard touchdown run right up middle. With defensive end Wayne Hamilton, EJ Jr. putting pressure on Scanlon. Defensive backs like cornerback Don McNeil laying out Arkansas receivers as they caught passes. Hall's comeback was impossible. The game of the year for the 1979 college football season. The game of the year was in the Rose Bowl between Southern California and Ohio State. As Ohio State lost to Southern California 17-16. Although Ohio State entered the game as nation's top-rated team, it clearly was underdog against the Trojan squad that resembled NFL team. The Buckeyes had to prove themselves all season, so they were ready for worthy effort. Ohio State defense earned honors early in the first quarter as it stopped high-powered Southern California offense at Ohio State 5-yard line. Trojans got on board later in first quarter on 41-yard field goal by kicker Eric Hip. Buckeyes moved ball behind quarterback Art Schlichter, who completed 53-yard strike to wide receiver Gary Williams on third down to advance to 2-yard line. Passing game may have brought them there, but Burks reverted to old style. USC stopped 4 runs, 3 from the 1-yard line. The Trojans preserved season-long streak of not giving up any first quarter touchdowns. Linebacker Ricky Gray made key plays on second and third downs with safety Dennis Smith standing up Schlichter on 4th down. Midway through second quarter, the Trojans up the lead to 10-0 as quarterback Paul McDonald beat Buckeyes blitz by hitting wide receiver Kevin Williams for a 53-yard score. The Bucks, or at least Schlichter, were not done just yet as they rallied for 10 points before the end of the first half. Schlichter connected on a 67-yard touchdown pass to Gary Williams with 40 seconds remaining. So the Bucks tried it off with momentum. Both teams adjusted for third quarter play. So Ohio State took 16-10 lead on kicker Vladi Jana Kiewski, who booted second and third field goals of the game. Now, up until the 5:21 mark of the fourth quarter, the game had been a classic struggle. It then came down to talent of Troy tailback Charles White and ability of USC offensive line to wear down their talented foes. Beginning at own 17-yard line, Trojans marched to winning score as White would not be denied. Now, despite battling the flu, White, whose 39 carries, 247 yards rushing, were both Rose Bowl records, gained 71 yards on winning drive on 6 attempts. including among those carries were a 32-yard run on first play, 28-yard run on student body right, a winning 1-yard run following guard Roy Foster and fullback Marcus Allen. It was as if the entire game had been a prelude to White's moment of greatness. Ohio State had time for the last drive, which ended when Sleester missed 4 passes from his 20-yard line. Teams combined for 931 yards and 519 yards for Trojans. USC coach John Robinson upped his Rose Bowl mark to 3-0. So that includes a look at college football history and review of 1979 college football season for the bowl seasons, the bowl games that were played, and let's get a look at the AP poll for January the 3rd. You had number 20 Penn State, number 19 Indiana, 18 Michigan, 17 Temple, 16 Auburn, 15 North Carolina, 14 Baylor, 13 Brigham Young. Texas was number 12, Washington number 11. Number 10 was Purdue, 9 Nebraska, 8 Arkansas, 7 Pittsburgh, Florida State, 6, 5 Houston, 4 Ohio State, 3 Oklahoma, 2 Southern California, and number 1 Alabama. Now the top performance formula, number 1 was Alabama. Top opponents record, number 1 was Penn State. Next, out of conference records, the number 1 conference was Atlantic Coast Conference with a 23-11-2 record. Winning percentage was 6.667, 6.667, 1-2 in a bowl game. The statistical leaders, individual statistical leaders, rushing yards, you had Charles White, 293 attempts for 1,803 yards, 6.2 yards per carry. Passing yards was led by Mark Wilson, Brigham Young, 250 completions, 427 attempts for 3,720 yards. All right, next, the receivers. Receiving yards, number 1, gotta look at James Murphy, Utah State, had 63 catches, 1,067 yards. And we're going to get into the consistent All-American team. Wide receiver Ken Majeron, Stanford, tight end Junior Miller, Nebraska, tackle Greg Colinda, Arkansas, Jim Bunch, Alabama. You got the guards, you got Brad Buddy, Southern California, Jim Fritz, Ohio State, center Jim Richter, North Carolina State, quarterback Mark Wilson, BYU, running back Charles White, Southern California, Billy Sims, Oklahoma, Vegas, Ferguson, Notre Dame. Place kicker Dale Castro, Maryland. Defensively, you got the defensive lineman. You got Hugh Green, Pittsburgh. You got Steve McMichael, Texas. Bruce Clark, Penn State. Jim Stuckey, Clemson. Middle guard Ron Simmons, Florida State. Linebackers, you got George Cumby, Oklahoma. Ron Simpkins, Michigan. Mike Singletary, Baylor. Defensive backfield, Kenny Easley, UCLA. Johnny Johnson, Texas. Roland James, Tennessee. Punter, Jim Miller, Mississippi. 1979 Heisman Trophy vote. Charles White, senior tailback, Southern California, was the top vote getter for 1979. He won the Heisman. Charles White, senior tailback, Southern California, finished with 1,695 votes, while Billy Sims, senior halfback, Oklahoma, had 773 votes. Mark Wilson had senior quarterback, Brigham Young had 589 votes. Sleester, sophomore quarterback, Ohio State, 251 votes. Vegas Ferguson, senior halfback, Notre Dame, had 162 votes. Now, the other major winners of the 1979 college football season, you had Maxwell Player of the Year Award, Charles White, Jim Richter, Outland Trophy Award, Lombardi Trophy went to Brad Buddy, Walter Camp, Charles White, Davey O'Brien, Mike Singletary, And the coach of the year for the AFCA was Earl Bruce. So that includes look at the 1979 college football season as a whole is over with. I'll be doing the 1980 college football season tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow, I'll see. Look at the overview as well as some of the milestones, the winning streaks, preseason number 1 to number 20. As far as that's concerned, the preseason top 20. And week 1, the games that were played on September 6th, 1980, including the game was played on it was on Monday, something like that. Maybe it was September 8th, maybe. But we're gonna get into it 1980 tomorrow. So that includes look at that. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the channel. I do a video tomorrow, this magnitude tomorrow. This is the conclusion of the 1979 college football season. Like, subscribe, comment on the channel. Deeply appreciate it. We'll do this magnitude tomorrow. Let's look at the 1980s decade of college football, starting with 1980 college football season overview and week 1, and etc. and much more. Until then, talk to you soon.